All right, Juan, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your district.
Well, as you said, my name is Juan Hinojosa, and I'm running for House Representative for District 32, and that covers the cities of Rockledge, Vieira, Suntree, Melbourne, basically everything between the borders of Cocoa and Palm Bay. It's a wide area. Plus, it includes India Atlantic. Um, the it's the biggest area here in Brevard County.
Wow, that's a wide range.
Yeah. As far as my background, I grew up in South Texas, and because when I was 3, my father died in an accident, so I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, and that's probably where I picked up most of my Spanish because you couldn't. And my grandmother didn't know any English, and if you wanted to eat, you had to speak to her in Spanish. Anyway, it was a small agricultural community. There were limited jobs, so when I graduated high school, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go into the running undocumented workers across the border or running drugs across the border. So I attended A&M University in Kingsville and graduated in 1975 with a degree in biology and chemistry. I worked in industry, in the chemical industry for a while, but there was no promotional opportunities for Hispanics then. In
Okay.
fact, one of the companies that I got hired in, out of 300 people, there was only 2 Hispanics employed,
Well,
and so I did that, and then I finally decided after 6 years, 7 years, I decided to go in the military because the military offered you abilities, leadership abilities, and abilities to get promoted based on your on your accomplishments and your
mm,
leadership.
hmm.
So I started it off as a private, and after 30 some odd years, I retired as a lieutenant colonel.
Oh,
And
wow. Thank you for your service, sir. That's an awfully long time too. So thank you for
yes,
that service.
and one of the reasons I stayed in the military too long is because I know that healthcare benefits are few and far between for most people that don't have some type of retirement plan. And even now, I see a lot of people that are still working into the age of 62, 63, 64 because they don't have any medical coverage and they have to work until they're 65. Otherwise, they can't pay their bills. In fact, at one point, I was offered to get out of the military, and I researched uh, earlier than I needed to or that I wanted to, and it was going to cost me $1,300 a month for medical insurance for my wife and I. So I just told him, "Hey, send me back to Afghanistan. I'll do another year." Uh, anyway, um, as far as why I'm doing this, um, there's no transparency in this state. There's virtually no transparency. Laws are written by the attorneys that represent the big money guys. Uh, a good example was the medical marijuana law. It was written by an attorney, and the bulk of the funds from the medical marijuana program went into big industry, and just the little shops. Even just to run a little medical marijuana shop, it costs you $25,000
Oh,
just to
wow.
open the shop and get permits. But the big people up at the top are the ones making the money. But that's because money in this state, money flows up; it doesn't flow down. Um, Also, there's a lot of political appointees in the state, and the political appointees garnish anywhere from 150 to $188,000 a year. And I've spoken to convicted felons in part of Brevard County, And one of the reasons they can't get their voting rights back is because these organizations are filled with these political appointees. So if there's no incentive within the state to give these convicted felons their voting rights back, then paperwork just doesn't get processed.
And
Um,
that's so sad because that was voted on by the people of the state. The people of the state really determined that they wanted to give the voting rights back, and
oh yeah.
then bureaucracy just killed that for many of those people. So that's a well thought out and wide agenda. Anything else that's like near and dear to you? It sounds like.
Well, all throughout my adult life, I've seen that states gerrymander their areas, and that's Florida is no exception. Um, they gerrymandered the districts in the north to where
Mhm,
the black community lost two seats in the House,
mhm.
and so that reduced. They had voting populations close to 45%, and they gerrymandered it to where it was diluted down to 33, so that they lost two seats in the last election.
Wow.
Um, the the people in our state government do not look out for the interests of of the common people. Um, I want to talk about my affiliation. I'm a centrist Democrat. That's kind of like the new term for a moderate, but my views are 50, 30, and 20, with 30 being uh, kind of like Republican views. You don't spend money if you don't have it, if you don't have it for a program. Um, and then 20% libertarian because I believe in states' rights. So there's got to be a balance. You can't be on the left, you can't be on the right because you're never going to compromise on anything. The My platform, um, my focus is to try and expand the economy and lowering insurance rates. And what a lot of people don't know is just the automotive insurance rates were raised. Well, the insurance were raised by Senate Bill 1002 and House Bill 581 that was passed last year. And those two bills enabled the car insurance companies to charge us more money for something we didn't ask for, to
Hmm.
charge us for a coverage that we did not ask for or request. And I would really want to go back to my $500 deductible so I pay less insurance, but I no longer have that option in this state. Uh, some of my key accomplishments with my military background, we accept all races and all cultures. Um, there's there's good things in all cultures, and there's good and bad things in all cultures, and 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 once we acknowledge that, then we'll be able to accept everyone for who they are, uh, not because they're Muslim or Christians or whatever religion. Everyone has that right to express their religious uh,
Very
opinions.
true.
Um, I I've supervised federal agencies with up to 350 employees for massive operations. Never once had a complaint. I look to find solutions for affordable rentals and affordable homes, and I want to expand Medicaid because Medicaid will improve our economy. There's medical hospitals right now that are going bankrupt because a lot of their clients do not have medical coverage, and then the hospitals go in debt. A lot of people don't realize that Medicaid also covers disabled children and disabled adults. And when you take federal money away from the people that medically need it, I see that as a contrast to what a lot of things that the Bible says about taking care of your fellow man. So I don't see how you can support uh, the oppression of the poor by taking away their medical coverage, especially when it's funded by the federal government. I believe my time is up. There's other ways we can improve the economy by increasing trade programs for our minorities, so that minorities coming out of high schools have more options other than to work a minimum wage job. And if they've got the desire to be a healthcare worker, there's abundance of healthcare worker jobs, caregiver jobs, all these different jobs that are funded through Medicaid, and to fill Medicaid positions and serve the Medicaid and Medicare people, or supported that have the services, and just by bringing in and expanding some of these programs, we can increase the economy and increase the workforce to where people are not stuck in a $30,000, $35,000 a year job and can have to get a second job just to pay for a $1,500 rent.
So true. And Juan, thank you for joining us. But before we have you leave, tell them how to find you and how we can support you if this resonates with folks, please.
Okay, I'm on the Brevard Democrat website, and I also have my own website, Juanhinojosa.org, and on both locations, it'll tie you to a page that'll give you a more detailed bio of myself and of some of the other programs that I want to expand. And I have a plan. I have a plan to make things better for the 100% of the community versus my opponent, who, from what I can see, has no plan on her website other than a donation page.
Well, Juan, thank you for joining us. We'll make sure we circle back with you to have you come back on again. We definitely know in your area, we have a lot of readers and listeners. But what we're hoping with this program is that it also resonates with people across the state, so they understand that if they like what you sound like, they can donate and they can jump in to help send a fighter to work for them.
So absolutely. Yeah.
Best of luck, and thank you for joining us.
And thanks for helping me drain the Tallahassee swamp.
We all have to do our part.
All right, thanks.